All right, good morning, guys. Melissa here. So I just had my hair cut yesterday, putting it up, loving it. If I want to wear it down, I don't have to worry about how it looks in the back. It looked so good last night in the back. I want to talk about helping others. I so appreciated this woman cutting my hair too. Gave her a good tip. So appreciated it. Um, I had made some calls yesterday, and I'm preparing still for my nonprofit. It is easy to say, guys, with theology, it is easy to say a church is a place that should never be about just totally helping people because, then we're in trouble. Well, no, a church is not just about helping other people. Church is mostly about the teachings of Jesus Christ, but they should align the teachings of Jesus with helping other people. Is this not the gospel? Is this not the gospel? The gospel in of itself is basically Jesus came to save sinners, right? He came to restore the prodigal sons, the lost, people who have walked away from God. Jesus died for sin. If this is not enough that he had died for us, what else more should we be doing to help other people? I mean, he died for us, right? So when people have needs, it should be a priority in a church. It really should. It's easy to have your theology of not helping people, but it doesn't align with scripture. It doesn't. Jesus was very clear. Anyone who has, a need, a shirt, etc., help them. Yesterday was a crazy day. I went to go get, my hair done, and there was someone in front of Supercuts where I went, and she was in a wheelchair, and she was literally going down the sidewalk and trying to open doors of businesses. And I was watching her, and I'm like, I think I need to park somewhere else. And I felt bad she was in a wheelchair. I mean, obviously that's a tough life for anybody, but yet there's people in wheelchairs who play sports, right? And they do the best they can with what life has given them. Um, but she was screaming, yelling, I mean, taking a fit. So I was being very cautious, and then I went up to the door, and she had it locked. And she had called security, this lady, because of this person. And so I came in contact with this person again. She's like, "Do you have some change, ma'am?" And I'm trying to discern between what she's really asking for, right? And trying to witness to her. And I'm like, "Well, do you go to church?" And she's like, "No." And she's like, "I need a shirt right now." And I'm like, "If you go to church," no. She said, "I need a shirt." I go, "If you go to the church, they'll help you." And she's like, "I need one right now." And I only had so much on me, guys, or otherwise I probably would have brought one for her. But I was thinking, okay, I think I've got stuff in my car that I can give her, something to, something more to wear. And she had left, but the hairdresser was like, "I'm so sorry, the door was locked. Usually it's open at this time, but we had to deal with her." I'm like, "I know, I saw it." Um, so I mean, this really put this woman behind in her appointments and stuff yesterday too. But we are to be caring for other people. So yesterday I spent time on resources. Um, One of the churches had said, we take very good care of our own. We take good care of our own. So if you come here, we take care of our own, and I like that. I mean, first of all, a church's responsibility is to take care of their own. And when you go to a church and they don't even want to take care of their own, there is a problem there. And it doesn't mean you need to be a member in order to take care of your own. It doesn't mean that you need to be tithing every week to take care of your own. It's no one's business how much you tithe. I mean, you can take your money and you can give it to someone else. It doesn't have to be that particular church you give it to. So there's a lot there to unpack. And then, I talked to somebody else and they're like, this is the heart of our church. We want to help people as much as possible. And I love the heart. And, and this guy was saying, but we have, whenever we say we're going to send a check to, the apartment building for some people, they take a fit. Now there shouldn't be any problem with that, right? Because you're being taken care of. And they're like, so we dig in deeper and we see some tall tales from some people off the street that just want money for, a scam. That's totally different, guys. And, on and on it goes. So to be able to be in the churches, for me to call the churches and say, hey, what's your process for this? What's your process for that? How do you do this? How do you do that? So I am learning as I call churches. And, and then there are churches that do reach out. They're like, we definitely, do reach out to people. And this is how we do it. We send an email, we do this, we do that. So looking at the processes is what I'm doing. And we should help people. It's easy to, be in your own little four walls in a church, but you got someone outside in the cold sleeping. The homeless shelters are shutting down. We need to do more. We have people at the homeless shelters who have been stabbed. It's not a great place. It's a lot of bullying. It's a lot of entitlement over there. It's a lot of, I know two people who went over to the one over here, and it's bad. Sometimes churches don't know what's going on over there. They just hand the money off instead of the church dealing with money. They hand it off. They're like, oh, just go here. And they don't know the details of what's going on. So, it's easy to say until it's you. It's easy to say until, say your husband leaves and you are left with nothing. And I don't say that in a bitter way, but it's easy to say that to moms. And then why don't you try to lose everything? A house, a husband, a car, relationships, lose it all and see how you do. So this is why we need to be there for one another. We need to love people more. Honestly, we do. And Jesus doesn't, differentiate people between the homeless and the people who are not homeless who have needs. Anyone who has a need, you should be trying to help as a church. So, a personal story here. Yesterday, I had, had some needs. One of those was my hair literally needed to be done. I mean, it was just getting to the point, guys, that I could not take good care of it with it getting all, I cut it myself and then I was like, this is really a lot of dead ends. The back of it needs to be cut better, etc. Plus other needs and needs for others. A lot of times somebody needs a haircut for a job, etc., etc. So sometimes you just have miscellaneous needs that come up, right? You need something to, nice clothes for work. You cannot wear just raggy clothes in a nice job. You need gas. There's miscellaneous things that come up too. So, so since I've been in Colorado, I have, there are grants to help people who need it. Churches can get it. There's grants they compete for to help people. So since I've been in Colorado, there's been this particular, thank God, particular church I went to, and they are there on a regular basis to help people. Long term, regular basis. So every month I can say, hey, this is where I'm at with, this is what happened with this job. This is where I'm at with this. And they do long-term help. And that is something you don't see nowadays. And yesterday I had just said to this person, thank you so much for being there. Thank you for being there. Life happens. I said, I can't, I can't pay you back for all you've done for me. Just the fact of being there, listening, saying, well, this is what's going on now in my life. And, somebody to be there and so appreciate. And it, I just kind of teared up going over there yesterday thinking this person is such a servant again. And when we get to heaven, I hope to see this person. And I said, what can I do for you? And he's just like, just pray for me. Just pray for me. And I'm like, I have been. So I actually thank God for this person in my life, because there have been times, even one time when I first started this job, I didn't even have gas to get there, and I was able to get gas to make sure I was safe to get to work and able to get to work when I first started. So, um, there's just these little things that come up too. Never mind just rent, gas, and the basics. Sometimes, yeah, you do get things at food pantries, but sometimes it's only like, 3 meals or something. So you have to, you know, a lot of times you have to use 2 food pantries to make sure you have enough throughout the week. And then there's food pantries that are like, okay, we only help 6 times in a year, 6 times. So if you are without work, how does 6 times help? You have to eat every day. So it's not that a church's main job is helping people, but it is part of a church. And back in history, it was always the churches helping people, sheltering them, taking care of them during sickness, during needs, during, the outbreaks of, whatever. So we need to get back to really caring about people, guys. And like I said, I did a video yesterday on cancel culture. If someone offends you, oh, we don't bother with that person anymore. That's not the way of Christ. So we need to really start caring about other people. And I really feel like it's just one family at a time, one person at a time. Because unless we do help people in every single way, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, every single way, community. I almost went to a Bible study last night, but something came up. Um, we are hurting ourselves. And especially where we see big tech, we need to bring it down to small community again. And, we're seeing people not in community, people are lonely, people are, if you don't have, people in your life, it's not healthy, guys. You need people in your life. Yesterday I took a exercise class, and this woman is old school. I love this. She's very old school, and she's like, this is, I used to take jazzercise and everything, and this woman actually comes up to me after class. This is the second one, and she'll be like, this is the form. This is how we do this. This is how we do this. And, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just waking up. I'll get it. And it's those details in the form that matter. So I've never had an instructor really get involved like this. And she says, I won't say anything now, but once I get to know you, I will say to the people here, I'll say, you call that a squat? What are you doing? That's not a squat. That's not a real squat. So she is tough, and I like it because she's holding us accountable, and she's creating community where it's not just a class. It's actually, I'm going to get to know you, and I'm going to teach you how to do this stuff the correct way. So what I'm saying is that's a blind spot, right? If you don't have someone teaching you at the gym how to do form correctly, that's a blind spot where you can hurt yourself. And like she said, you can get away with it with the small weights, but once you start doing the heavy weights, you're not going to get away with that type of form. You're going to actually hurt your back. So this is why we need people in every area of our life to catch those blind spots, correct us, and say, oh, you know what, that's not the right way, that's not right. So we need to work, guys. We need to get to work. Put our hands, to the spindle, whatever you want to say, and on top of us working and taking care of ourselves and our own in a church very well, we need to be out there for community too. And this is why I absolutely appreciate the church that's very community minded too, that does help other people. But, they need to get in cahoots with all their programs, so that you're not in a church and you're like, wow, I feel the love of Christ. Thank you so much for helping me with a car. Then you go to a Bible study and you get this cancel culture and you're like, what the heck was that? That was pretty rejecting. You need consistency throughout the whole church, right? You need policies. You need procedures. You need a lot there. And you need to correct those who want to be pretty rude and not act like a family. So, I did have someone reach out to me yesterday from one of the groups I was in. This is the one that I was fine with. There was no issue with. And he had started another group, and he's like, hey, we want you over here. You want to come over? And I'm like, well, tomorrow I'm busy, but yeah, probably next Saturday would be good. So we want those type of people. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to meet you. I want to, come on over. We want to see you. We want you here. These are the type of people we want in the church. There's some who build and some who tear down in the church. And we want to be building people. Okay, that's what I got for now, guys. I am headed to work, and insurance didn't call me. They never called me back. And I'm like, oh, wonderful. So, this falls on them, guys. Let it fall on them. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.